Well, the dynamics of the political environment currently in Bungoma favors, Didmus Barasa. The reason is he's positioned himself as the people person. Team's affiliation to Honorable Speaker is a letdown because now Tawe has also come in. And when Tawe comes in, it's more of we are going against the old, status quo, where we have not seen much being done. And now, Wangamati has had his fair share of, rule in Bungoma County. He's done his bit. Cases that come up, like corruption cases, come up as an undoing to him.
A very good day from Saudi TV. This is Road to 2027, and we're here with a political analyst to get a view and a look at the county of Bungoma. The Road to 2027, the county of Bungoma is going to experience some contest of sort, where we are seeing two very well performing members of parliament, led by Kimilili MP Didmus Barasa and an MP of Westlands team Wanyonyi, together with another very formidable candidate in the race for Bungoma politics, who is the former governor Wangamati. I'm here with a political analyst. He will introduce himself just to give us an overview of what the situation is like in Bungoma. First of all, just introduce yourself by just telling the viewer your name and maybe a bit of your background of how well you know Bungoma County.
Naitwa Paul Moss, basically a voter, a Kenyan, and a person of interest in terms of politics ambazo zinaendelea Western region and specifically Bungoma. Yes.
Tell us, we are here just to get a breakdown for a viewer about the county of Bungoma. First of all, can you tell us, we recently experienced by-elections in the county, which some of the people have been saying have been quite consequential towards the politics of 2027. In your view, do you agree or disagree with some of the people and what they say?
I specifically agree with the people and what they say in terms of what happened, and I'll quote probably Kabuchai, where the by-election was a showcase of, political proficiency. We are having political bigwigs in a situation where they are cornered, and their views currently are not really the people's views. And with this, I'll specifically say, if a candidate who is sponsored by a political bigwig loses with a big margin, then it tells you a certain trend is going on within the politics in Bungoma. Yes.
Currently, as it stands, the Bungoma politics is going to be a focal point in the 2027 by-elections. I will just do a few mentions of the candidates, and I would want to start by asking you about the sitting Kimilili MP, who's Didmus Barasa. Can you tell me, in your view, maybe why you think Didmus Barasa is currently best positioned to become the next Bungoma governor?
Well, the dynamics of the political environment currently in Bungoma favors, Didmus Barasa. The reason is he's positioned himself as the people person. That is one. Two, look at the development. We have roads, we have schools, we have the general infrastructure. He's a people person. And what I have also seen currently is he is going around, preaching that peaceful environment or coexistence, whereby we have different, backgrounds, we have different tribes within the Bungoma County. And he, looking at how he's moving around, unifying the environment with one voice in the name of, we want a person who is here, a person who is, a person who understands who we are, and a person who understands what we want. And he's going ahead and doing them. Especially, as I mentioned, look at infrastructure, look at the roads, look at the schools. He's elevated some of the schools that we previously thought might be lower there, and now they're very big schools. Look at his plan going forward. I'll just mention one currently, the Huduma Center. It's a plan that we think is going to push, service delivery to the Mwananchi closer to the people. And that's what people want. And that's what personally I think is, a stumbling block, especially on these other people who, other contestants who are coming in. They're all strong, yes, but my views are Didmus is a bit higher, in terms of what he has done and his plan for the constituency where he is now and for the county going at large. Yes.
Just beyond being a vocal legislature, and obviously he speaks his mind. Didmus Barasa speaks his mind, and has served. This is, I think, it should be the third term in Kimilili. Is it the third or second? From 2017. Okay, it's a second term. He's serving as a second term MP. Are there, as a person of interest in Bungoma, having gone through the county, what are some of the projects you think, other than what you have mentioned, the Huduma Center that is going to be launched very soon, opened, commissioned very soon, what other projects do you think would be a legacy and would be a selling point, a unique selling point for Didmus Barasa going forward towards the 2027 bid for governor?
Education is a pillar of any development-minded community. Look at Matili, look at Mahonge, look at the road infrastructure. He seems to have that strategic mindset in the sense that people deserve the best, and people deserve, it might not come once, but then his roadmap, from where he came from up to now, we can tangibly say this is done by Didmus, this is done by so and so, and that is what people want, especially when it comes to service delivery. The roads infrastructure in Kimilili previously, or what I understand, was not really as much as it is now, and that is what people want. Yeah. And so in terms of who he is as a person going forward, he has strategically positioned himself as a top candidate based on his developments, based on his plans, and we are seeing that tangibly. We are seeing that from what the situation is on the ground, and people understand what he's doing. People know what he's doing, what he's delivering, and that's what people want. Yeah. And in Bungoma at large, he seems to be a person who has a vision for the people in Bungoma. He seems to be having that mindset where it's not what we had in the old days, but this is what we want now. We don't want it tomorrow, any other day, but we want now, and I am here to deliver it to you. Yeah.
You have mentioned about Didmus Barasa positioning himself as the people candidate, as opposed to, for example, say, someone like Tim Wanyonyi, who's being positioned as the elite or the favorite candidate for the political elite in Bungoma County. That is owing to his association to his brother, Speaker of National Assembly, Moses Wetangula. We have seen even sometimes, other than selling of issues, I think I've been following, I've been keeping track of what Didmus is doing, his activities, political activities in the county, and I've seen him telling women and using the word munifunge kwa mgongo kama watoto, mnibebe mimi. How do you think some of this messaging resonates with the Mwananchi at the local level? Do you feel that maybe this is working for or against Didmus?
Personally, this is working for Didmus. You know, someone used it as a political rhetoric where he said mnifunge kwa mgongo. Na kulingana na mimi, it's a way of telling people it is not me but you. You see, wewe mimi niko hapa kama kiongozi wako, but ukiniambia tufanye hivi tutafanya. Positioning himself as the favorite candidate as opposed to the other. Let's talk about Tim has done very well. We do not take away that from him, but then he will need to do a lot, especially when now he's moving from Nairobi going to to Bungoma to campaign. He will need to woo the people in Bungoma to a certain level. They have to come to and understanding that yes, mimi ndio nimekuja kuwaokoa. He's a brother to Speaker of National Assembly, Mheshimiwa Wetangula, and currently we are seeing Wetangula has been pushing from the word go, the Ford Kenya movement, and mimi sisi kuja kuwaokoa ile the previous Ford Kenya slogan, sisi ndio we are pushing for whatever we want there. And I think, personally I think Tim's affiliation to Honorable Speaker is a letdown, because now Tawe has also come in. And when Tawe comes in, it's more of we are going against the old, status quo, where we have not seen much being done. And now Didmus comes in, as a fresh, accepted mindset. And people have seen that in Kimilili, have seen that in, his national vocal, environment, how he's pushing agendas here and there. And he's, that's where now he stands in to be a firm prospect. Let's talk about Wangamati. Wangamati has experience being there, as a governor. He's done his bit, but then he's previously been into Ford Kenya and Wetangula's political environment. But currently we do not have that. We do not have the solid Ford Kenya with all of them inside there pushing the same agenda. And so these also now, as we can do, Wangamati, because some of his followers now do not want anything to do with Food Kenya. And as I said, there's something that's coming, it's Tawe movement. So they do not want anything to do with Food Kenya. And two, they also believe he's been there, but his previous affiliation to Speaker, and the Speaker having been, the Ford Kenya kingman, it doesn't work really favorably for him. And that's where Didmus comes in. Didmus has, he is also associated with a national, political alignment. But then on the ground, he comes in as a fresh-minded person, as a fresh savior, in quotes, someone who's coming in to showcase his political proficiency, his management skills, and he's doing it. We are seeing all that so far, and people probably are looking at it and saying, okay, these other people have been there. But one, we don't want someone who's coming in now to tell us what he's going to do. We want someone who's been here as an MP and he has done ABCD, and so then he can proceed and do whatever we are seeing. His plan, looks good, positive, and it's positive. Yes.
From the political affiliations you've mentioned, going forward, that is, for example, like the Kenya Kwanza Aligned, which is the party Didmus Barasa belongs to, or the party, the coalition. There's a Wangamati who slightly is on the DAPK side of partly Ford Kenya. Then there's obviously there's Tim Wanyonyi, who's a ODM, but people are seeing him as a as a candidate on the fence? Is he going to side with his brother, who's a party leader, or so to say, who's the leader of Ford Kenya? How do you think these political affiliations are going to affect how the Mwananchi decides how to vote and who to vote for? Do you think it will be more based on the political alignment, or it is going to be purely issue based and something like that?
Well, political alignments have, are very vital in any, political tussle and elections, as we say. Having been aligned to a big political, party or a political affiliation helps one in terms of pooling resources, the masses and all that. It's a very good thing to go by. But then the dynamics of politics in Bungoma currently may not really favor that. Yes, Honorable Didmus has a political edge in terms of his affiliation with the Kenya Kwanza or UDA, but then Tim also is affiliated to a big party, which is ODM. We have the likes of Wangamati, who are also, political bigwigs. But then when it comes to elections, the winning mentality, I think Didmus is doing very well because he's pushing a certain agenda. Not just the political affiliation, but he's also pushing a certain agenda. He's more of pro-people. He's more of development-minded. You can go to Kimilili and look at Kimilili town. You can go to Bungoma and look at how his masses, the political supporters come in droves, and you go to Mount Elgon and see how people fill up in droves, because he seems to resonate well with the common Mwananchi on the ground, and he speaks the language that the common man seems to understand and wants to hear more about it. And that's where now he comes in as a strong contestant. Someone like Tim, he's not really done much, in Bungoma when it comes to campaigning or, popularizing himself. We haven't really seen him, popularize himself much in the media and all that. And so far up to now, I will say he's kind of pushed himself to the side, first of all, to watch and see. I don't know if it's a political strategy, but then, he doesn't have much time, because if I've made a decision, then I'll go with my decision, because I don't know. People don't even know whether he's still pushing straight on or he's still weighing the situation and see how it goes. And people want someone who's made up their mind, someone who wants to push for development, and someone who wants to lead the county. And so, and it seems like Didmus has gotten it head on. Yeah, and that's where he comes in strong. Yeah.
Do you think this growing anti-Wetangula sentiment in Bungoma County, or generally the Western region, could affect how people vote, either for Tim Wanyonyi or vote against him?
Political alignment, the political rhetoric in Western region, not just Bungoma, has broadened. And as you talked of alignments relating to the chants against Wetangula, I personally think it's an undoing for anyone who's affiliated to Wetangula so far currently. Why? Because he's been in Ford Kenya all through. He's been more like the carrier of the flag in Western Kenya. But look at Kabuchai. Yeah, a person he fronted lost the election by a very big margin. Someone who stood with his own mind and said, I do not want anything to do with this. I have my own mind and I'm going to push this, and I want people to understand what I want. So the same thing might happen. because it's a wave, it's an understanding that people have. Kitambo tulikuwa tumesema watu wanachanuka. They come up with a mind and say, okay, fine, you are a big politician, yes, but then this is what we want and this is what we want to push. You get? And that is what exactly we want in terms of, the masses. We want in terms of an understanding of how elections need to go. It's more of people-centric. People need to, to decide based on what they know about you and not what you who you associated with. Because sasa nikisema mimi ni mtu wa Ford Kenya, and currently Ford Kenya has not done anything, and someone comes in with a fresh mind and says, I am not affiliated to this political party, or I am a new person in the environment. You get? Not new in the sense that I have not been here, but new in the sense that leadership needs someone who understands the common mwananchi, and not someone who's been there based on his political affiliation. This is an undoing for anyone affiliated to Mheshimiwa Wetangula, because if Ford Kenya is fading, then most of his people, most of the people who are affiliated to him might also have it very rough. Yes.
You mentioned something about the political rhetoric. Obviously, there are issues where, for example, like a former governor Wangamati is being associated with some issues owing to his past time in office, relating to issues of maybe corruption. There's a Team Wanyonyi who largely his undoing has been the issue of his association with Wetangula, and him being seen as a political tourist in Bungoma County. Obviously, it's his native home county, but he has been away for a very long time politically. He's been applying his trade in another country, in another county. On the side of Didmus, we have also seen issues rising. We've seen MPs decampaigning him. For example, one sitting MP was mentioning like the issue of weight or your body physique. Do you think this rhetoric and some of these things would work, or against which candidate? And how do you see it going? Because as well, we are seeing the issue of, for example, we witnessed in the Kabuchai by-election, the use of goons or youth to beat up people. Do you think some of these political underhand tactics are going to affect how this election is going to pan out?
Unfortunately, we are in an environment where underdealings are so much. It's the truth. We are seeing goons here and there. We are seeing political rhetoric. We are seeing head-on fights, which I don't think it's the basis of what people want currently. So when you say Didmus hana weight, probably it's a positive thing to him. If someone else in the crowd, the student says, yes, tunataka kwa hivyo ndio tuweze kumbeba, na hii kumbeba haimaanishi kumweka kwa mgongo as he says. Symbolically tunataka kumbeba because we want to move with him. Wangamati has had his fair share of rule in Bungoma County. He's done his bit. Cases that come up, like corruption cases, come up as an undoing to him, and push a negative story against him. And people always, currently people people understand, people know what management is, and once they hear such things, they follow up. And once you see there's mismanagement, there's fiscal fiscal management issues that he's had previously, and those are also coming up strongly to bite him. Team being referred to rhetorically as a political import, is also a downside for him. Why? Because anyone in the crowd will say no, umeenda umefanya kazi huko, so why do you think it's important for you je utufanyie sisi when we've been having someone here who's taking care of us? Why do you think it was not okay for you to continue with the masses? You've done very good job with wherever you are, and so you've come in to handle our political, our politics in Bungoma. And that's where he comes in as an input. We've had cases where, previously, where someone loses an election in a different part, then comes in, goes to another place again contesting, and people think when such happens, you may not really understand what we want or what we deserve as a person or as a people. You get? And that's where Didmus stands in strong. He's been on the ground all through. I see him every single now and then. He's speaking to his people. He's, commissioning a certain project. He's taking care of, a certain school somewhere. He's brought people together. He's handled people the same way you would want, a father handle his children. And wewe kama ni mzazi ukikaa na watoto wako, people see you as a leader, and once they see you as a leader they have faith in you, and that's what I think he's doing. And na hiyo ndio inafanya anakuwa na more popularity and much more of elevating his political stature. Yes.
As we conclude, going forward, what do you think, or do you think the growing, for example, Tawe movement that is sweeping Western Kenya, the anti-government sentiments, the anti status quo sentiments, are going to affect how this election is going to be determined?
It's going to be an undoing for so many people, especially in Western. We've had previously affiliations to certain political parties, and I'll mention these. For example, Ford Kenya strongly having Honorable Speaker Moses Wetangula, having other people, holding on to Ford Kenya because it's popular in Western. And the Tawe movement has come in, and it seems to be opening people's minds. I'm not saying it will not affect everyone. It will. Now, this is where it becomes more interesting. One, I haven't really seen someone like Didmus being hit so much with the Tawe, rhetoric. To be honest, I haven't really seen that. When it comes to Wangamati, his previous affiliation with the, Honorable Wetangula in Ford Kenya, comes in as an undoing for him. That is for Wangamati. And for Tim, the Tawe movement is going to hit him a bit hard. The reason is he's a brother to someone who's been a kingpin in the Ford Kenya. And Ford Kenya, under Moses Wetangula, is being hit so badly by the Tawe movement. And so anyone who is pro-Tawe, or at least development-minded, is going to have it, much better than the likes of Wangamati. I'll be very honest. He's going to have it very tough because of his affiliation to the political alignment there previously. What he has done, his scandals and all that. And for Tim, he's a good guy. He's a guy who's done very well. But then he may not be very much favored in the Western political environment, especially, someone saying umebebwa umetolewa hapa uende usimamishwe hapa kwingine, then ufanye nini ndio uendelee na being in the ruling class as a family. I think Tawe movement is going to hit them very hard. Yeah. And for Didmus, just to finish, he will also be hit, but then he has an edge, and this is what happens. every single person knows his development, plan in Kimilili and in Bungoma at large, at large. And you can step there and see what he has done. You can step into a certain school, Matili. You can go to any road in Kimilili constituency and be told this was done by Didmus. You can go to you can check out Huduma Center and say this is actually his plan, and it's going to be commissioned very soon. So it's something he's pushing, and I think it's going to be. It's never tough. Politics is never. I mean, it's never easy. Politics is always tough. But then there are those who might ride on a certain wave, but generally there are those who will, be the dear or the darling of the people because of, what we know who you are, what you have done, and going forward. I think that's what we might determine the outcome of political, elections in Bungoma County. Yes.
Let's make a controversial eyeball prediction of the 2027 elections in Bungoma County. If those elections, for example, were held today, and right now I know the official campaign period is not yet announced, but we have seen people making political moves in some very huge political gatherings. And as Raila said, I will ask you openly, kwanza, in Bungoma County, farasi ni ngapi? Punda ni ngapi? Kuna ng'ombe? And then tell me, if the elections were held today, which of the candidates would you think, as a person of interest in Bungoma County, would be best favored to clinch the seat?
Theoretically, first, sidhani kama kuna ng'ombe. Maybe kuna punda, lakini najua farasi ni watatu. Ndio hawa farasi watatu, kuna wale ambao wako na a bigger age. Yeah, based on, amelishwa vizuri, amefanya mazoezi yake vizuri, and I'll go straight. For a person with an approval rating of about 78.3 in Kimilili, that's a person who is doing very well, ranked amongst the best in Bungoma County. Didmus is doing very well, and so if it were to be clinched today, if it were to be done today, election were to be done today, then I'll say Didmus will clinch the title. That's according to me, and according to what I understand the situation on the ground is. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. This has been a road to 2027 with a political analyst from Bungoma County, Mr. Paul Moss. You've heard it for yourself. If elections were held today, who would be the candidate? Be kind enough to leave your opinion. Let us know. If you're a resident of Bungoma, you're a resident of maybe the Western region, you're a Kenyan, who do you think would be the best candidate to clinch this seat? Thank you very much. Until next time, this has been Road to 2027.